Deliver Us, released in 2023, is a religious horror film that combines the supernatural elements with a deep philosophical and moral question. And the film begins in a very isolated convent area in the snowy, stormy side of Russia. The setting is very stark and with a very cold and barren landscapes that emphasizes the sense of isolation, the thrill that is present in this overall tone of the movie. We see that there are some random and disturbing killing of the people right in the opening scene of the movie, where one of the person's head is cut off and another person's skin is ripped off out of his back, where something is written. And I think it is kind of testament to Jesus because they are in the church right there. So this is where the film actually begins with a very brutal and very unexpected thrill, including the murdering scene that we see right here, or the killing scene that takes place. Then after the scene is cut, we are introduced to the character of the sister Yulia, which is a very devoted nun, and she really shocks the other sister in revelation that she is pregnant despite being a virgin. So that's a major question, how she is pregnant then. And because she is a virgin, so initially the people at the church, the convent leaders and the fellow nuns just dismisses her claim as possible because it was not possible. And but as her pregnancy progresses, it actually becomes very clear that something extraordinary or possibly very sinister or very kind of a darker thing is at its work. And we see that her pregnancy just reaches the Vatican City, and prompting the swift action, the church just dispatches two representatives to investigate what is behind all this chaos happening there. Father Fox is very compassionate about the disillusioned priest that was struggling with his faith, and then there is a Cardinal Russo that is a stern and under-yielding traditionalist. Their mission is twofold: to determine the legitimacy of Yulia's claim and to ensure whether the prophecy does not jeopardize the church's authority, because it can spark the tension between all of them if something that is not supposed to be happens right there. But when they arrive at the convent, Father Fox and the Cardinal Russo just encounter various skepticism, fear, and the tension among the nuns. The church presence itself raises the question about the divine intervention versus manipulation, and Yulia's unwavering belief and the mysterious circumstances that just surround her pregnancy just, I think, began to shake both the Father Fox as well as the Cardinal Russo. And after some time, they just both become increasingly convinced that there is kind of a demonic force that is at the play. But the story takes a very dramatic turn in the introduction of the Vox Dei, a very religious and a radical sect that interprets the prophecy as a call to action, and convinced that one of the twins will become the Antichrist. They believe that it is their sacred duty, or it is their homage duty, to kill both the unborn child to prevent the world's destruction right there. And their fanaticism just brings a very palpable sense of danger to the narrative of the whole story. And we see that Vox Dei just attempt to attack the convent, but the Vatican's orders Julia's immediate relocation. So here Father Fox and Cardinal Russo are tasked with escorting her to the safety, because they play a main part in her to provide her safety. And the trio just flees to Estonia, where they take the refuge in the countryside estate of Laura's, that is the Father Fox's former fiancée. And the safe house just provides a temporary reprieve, but also introduced a new layer of conflict and backstory among the characters, because now four of them are present there. So, and at this time we see that as Laura's estate just offers insight into the Father Fox past, and his decision to leave Laura years earlier to join the priesthood is just revealed as a very source of lingering guilt and unresolved emotion. And we see that Laura's presence just challenges the Fox commitment to his faith, or whatever he believes in that, and their interaction add a very emotional depth to the story here. And meanwhile, we see that Laura questions why she is being drawn into such a dangerous situation, because she has nothing to do with all these things. But especially as the estate becomes a battleground for these unseen forces, because it is the main thing on which they are residing now, and so she is indirectly part of this thing. And the estate itself is an eerie setting, which is its dark hallway and ancient architecture, and the supernatural elements just create a very escalating sense of dread. Yulia, now in the final stages of her pregnancy, become the focal point of this strange event, and it seems as though the twins are already exerting a mysterious influence on the surrounding, further dividing the opinions about their harbingers of salvation or destruction. And we see while they were traveling in the train, in a very unexpected turn of event, we see that the first one, I think the baby is just born in that train out of nowhere, and that is a very kind of a radical or not expecting event in this movie. And when the tension just boils over, Vox Dei that just locates the Laura's estate and launches a violent assault. And the extended sequence actually gave you an insight that is very both chaotic and horrifying at the same time. And that just, I think, highlights the group's willingness to kill the indiscriminately to fulfill their mission at any cost. So Father Fox and Cardinal Russo fight to protect Julia, but the attack results in a very tragic loss. And now their partner, I think the former fiance of Father Fox, is killed during this invasion. That is the Laura, and her death just add a personal and emotional weight to the conflict. And her tragic end pushes Father Fox to the brink, forcing him to confront his own doubt and guilt. But meanwhile, Cardinal Russo becomes increasingly desperate, paranoid, and feeling fearful, interpreting the attack as further proof of the twins' demonic nature. But despite their best effort, the group barely escapes, I think, with the Julian and their unborn twins. So here, as Julius goes into the label, the film reaches its climax. The birth takes place in a very remote and dimly lit setting, with the characters overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty. And the scene is visually striking, filled with very stormy weather, flickering candlelight, and very oppressive atmosphere. When the twins are born, their appearances are deceptively normal, yet their presence fills the room with a very unexplainable tension that we cannot really explain. But we see that in the face of the Julia, she is really, really happy. Whatever may be the consequences, but these are their children, so she must be happy. And as a mother, that is her duty, and insists that both the children are really, really innocent. But Rousseau is immediately suspicious, and he becomes convinced that one of the twins must be Antichrist, and resolves to eliminate the perceived threat. And the climax of the film just revolves around a moral and theological conflict between the Father Fox and the Cardinal Rousseau. Rousseau, just driven by very fear and fanaticism, just attempt to kill one of the newborns. Fox, however, intervenes and pleading for mercy, and he just argues with him that it is not the place to judge or decide whether the children's fate, that what will be going to happen with them. So the standoff just explores the central theme of, I think, faith and morality, and the free will of what should be happened and what is happening right now. As Rousseau raises a knife to strike, supernatural force just intervene in between. We see that the room is just plunged into a chaos as unseen power strikes Rousseau down, killing him in a very gruesome and unexplainable manner. The moment solidifies the ambiguity of the story, that was it divine intervention or the Antichrist power or something else entirely that is just unpredictable, or the power that is out of the world, holding the sinister behavior, holding the sinister power, and just manipulating everything according to its free will. With Rousseau dead and Laura gone, only Julia and Father Fox remain to care for the twins. Fox, having undergone to profound transformation just to protect the children despite the risk, and his decision marks the culmination of his character as he embraces the faith in the humanity and rejects the dogma that once defined his belief. But we see that Julia meanwhile reaffirms her role as devoted mother. She believes that prophecy is not a curse, but it is a challenge, and as a challenge we should accept it and do whatever is possible from her side. If the Messiah and the Antichrist are raised together with love and kindness, perhaps the cycle of destruction can be broken, and maybe it can balance the whole world, and not the destruction may not be take place as it was guided by them. The film ends on a very ambiguous note, with Julia and Fox retreating to a very undisclosed location to raise the twins in secrecy, and the final shot just lingers on the infant. Their expression unreadable as a haunting musical score underscores the uncertainty of their future. The audience is left to ponder the nature of good and evil, as well as the power of the nurture versus prophecy. I think one of the standout sequences of the movie that just felt, so really, that just connected with Beard, and that just was roaming in my mind always. That was one of the scenes in the, I think, starting of the movie around 40 or 45 minutes, where they are both the sister Julia and the other male character is just I think they were dreaming, and they were dreaming of having I think intimate scenes with each other in their dream, and their dream just felt so real, so happening, that they were I think you can see that on their face as well, that they were feeling the happiness feeling or whatever may be the feeling related to the intimate scenes at the same point of time. And we can see that both were sharing the same frame in the dream, and at the same point of time they were on their bed, they were experiencing the some kind of happiness and love at the same time. I think the scene just really stands out for me, because it just connect the story so well. And one of the questions just stick in my mind about the describing virgin, how she is pregnant, or how, I mean, it is possible to be pregnant with, if she is a virgin. That just sticks out to me because this is not something logical explanation. I think the film must answer it, or something that is not, or must. I think they should have leave a kind of a hint that maybe audience like you and me could have deal with it. And the films intentionally leaves the nature of the twins unclear, I think, because are they truly messiah or the antichrist, or just any kind of ordinary children just caught in a wave of superstition and fear. So that is, by refusing to, I think, provide the definitive answer, the film just challenges audience like you and me to consider the complexity of morality and the potential for redemption or the corruption in all individual. But I think Cardinal Rousseau just represent a very fear-driven faith and leading to his downfall. Where we see that in contrast, Father Fox just embodied the passionate faith, the belief, and choosing to nurture rather than to destroy that. So this just say the versatility and the difference between both of the characters. That one is just compassionate, having faith, and just trying to deal the things in a very sorted manner, but the other just trying to destroy. And the ending suggests that the faith, just rooted in love and hope, has the power to just overcome, I think, any kind of fear and hatred. So love is the best medicine. So Julia, I think, believe that the twins' upbringing may influence the destinies. That underscores the theme of the nurture versus nature. The ending just, I think, implies the Messiah's love might be strong enough to temper the Antichrist destructive. And I said that it may balance, and there may have not be no problem if we see any kind of sequel in the movie. So they can just develop the more character of the Messiah or Antichrist, whether they are Messiah or Antichrist or not, or it is some kind of confusion between them, and offering just, I think, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness that is present in this movie. And also death just raises question about the unseen powers at the play, or was his death just orchestrated by divine intervention, or the demonic force, or the twins themselves that who were responsible behind his death. And the uncertainty, I think, just heightens the film's tension and leaves the viewer to interpret whether the supernatural elements just ties in, or they were all behind the sinister things, or the unexpected things that were going on this in this movie. So I think that ending really implies that both the sister Julia and Fox, that they just stand as a kind of parent to them. I mean, not definitely parent, but parent like figure, or you can say the guardian. Guardian may be appropriate word, as a protector of the twins, setting up an intriguing dynamic. They must navigate the challenges of raising children, profiles to save or destroy the world, while shielding them the external threat like the Vox Dei and the church authority, or something like that. This unresolved conclusion actually leaves the room for very much interpretation and discussion. But I think the ending of the Deliver Us is both haunting and thought-provoking at the same time. And its ambiguity and very unsolved nature, or the open-ending kind of thing, just leaves the story in midway. So just kind of creating a creating a pavement for us to just kind of interpret and discuss on our own that what is the possibility of the further things regarding the two twins. And it leaves the open possibility for further exploration, as I said earlier, and maybe, I think, in a sequel or something, imagination of the audience like you and me. The second standout thing was actually the Julia's character and her role as both the mother of the twins, and just, I think, underscores the theme of sacrifice, resilience, and the agency. I think that just really stand out, and her unconditional love for those children, just try to protect them at all costs, because she is just the mother, and the mother loves is just purely unconditional. It's just so pure, and there is no kind of, you can say, expectation from the children. It's just unconditional love. And despite being manipulated by others, but just Julia asserts her agency and rejecting the idea that children's fate is just predetermined. And there were many of the themes of the movie regarding the maternal sacrifice and agency of Julia's character, and the nurture versus nature themes, especially even the good versus bad, or the faith and doubts, or what should we have faith in and what should we must not have faith in, and the moral ambiguity. And one of the main is the supernatural and divine intervention that takes place in the movie, and the moral ambiguity, that what is right and what is wrong, and especially the sacrifice and redemption one. So I think the movie just dissonates beyond its religious horror premise, delivering into a very complex moral and philosophical question, raising a question about the society and the things that we see around us, in many of the form. So that is just about the movie, and it doesn't actually refuse to clear those questions, clear those answers, and making it really a deep, thought-provoking experience. So encouraging viewers like you and me, or the audience, to reflect on the faith and morality and the nature of destiny. Thank you. If you like such breakdown, subscribe for more cinema shadows.